In the way of the Haudenosaunee, all gatherings such as tonight's begin and end with the Thanksgiving address. When we are asked to put our minds together as one and notice that all the beings of creation, the plants and animals, winds and waters, sun, moon, and stars are each still carrying out their duties and making life possible for us. And for this, we are asked to give thanks. There are three overarching themes. One is the Onondaga land rights and our common future. It gives us a chance to reflect on the opportunities presented by the Onondaga Nation as they assert their title to this area, their homeland, and as they ask us to join in restoring health and vitality to the land and waters that bear their name. The second theme is reflections on the journey from environmental reciprocity to environmental exploitation and back again. And that's what we're starting with tonight. To tell the story of what happened, what this part of the world was like before Europeans invaded, who did such damage to this incredibly beautiful and bountiful part of the world, and how it was allowed to occur. And how do we heal and find our way forward to a new relationship among peoples and between us and the earth? One based on responsibility, thanksgiving, caregiving, and community. And there's a third theme: finding common ground, indigenous and Western approaches to healing our lands and waters. To ask and perhaps answer the question, how can traditional environmental knowledge, the information gathered through long-term productive relationship with a particular place and ecosystem, and passed on through story, ceremony, names, and ways of being, and scientific environmental knowledge, gathered through experimentation, observation and analysis, and passed on through publication and replication. How can each be called upon for the common purpose of learning how to live well on the earth while living lightfully and thoughtfully in this land, our home? Well, little did we know when we started to plan these 2 days that events would conspire to make our project so timely. In the past few days, the New York DEC and Honeywell Corporation announced their plan for restoring Onondaga Lake. At first glance, the plan, at least as it has been described, appears to be the result almost entirely of Western scientific and engineering approaches focused on economic efficiency and severe discounting of the long-term future. When faced with danger, build a wall, dig a trench. In this case, to stop the poisonous legacy of our industrial past from continuing to leach into the lake. To come to a consent agreement without the consent of the Onondaga leaders and their representatives is not how we have envisioned for finding common ground, succeeding in cleaning the lake and restoring the ecosystem. And yet it is still possible, indeed necessary, to go forward. We can all agree that the leaching needs to be stopped. DEC and Honeywell insist they will still want to hear alternatives. There is a way forward. It's called truth and reconciliation. First, Honeywell, the DEC, and all of us need to understand and explain honestly how and why the lake was so badly harmed. Then we need to apologize to the Onondaga people and to the lake and all its beings. And then we need to take full responsibility for making it right and ask the Onondaga leaders to help us determine in detail how to do that. Tomorrow night, same place, same time, we will explore several ideas for ways forward. Tonight, we look to our past and present. From its beginning, so-called Western science has developed from very different motivations, both love of nature and thirst for power. Some saw in new tools of science the opportunity of great power over others and great wealth for oneself. And there were also those who studied through painstaking observation and experimentation the workings of the world because they were fascinated by complexity and the mysterious interconnections of all things. Science was the branch of natural philosophy that searched for understanding of the profound intelligence alive in all things. Tonight, we have one of the latter form of scientist, a naturalist, a poet, a lover of science, a botany professor at SUNY College of Environmental Science and Forestry, and a native woman of the Potawatomi people of the Great Lakes. So please welcome my friend and author of an eloquent book titled Gathering Moss, Professor Robin Kimmerer.